Welcome to the Gay Cruise and Travel Podcast with me, just Joey T. It's Mother's Day as I record this. Happy Mother's Day. Of course, when you listen to this, it is no longer Mother's Day. This goes on Monday. But since I am recording on Mother's Day, I'd like to say all the mothers out there, Happy Mother's Day. Hope you had a great Mother's Day and Mother's Day weekend. It's been sunny in West Hollywood, where this podcast is recorded and produced. We had a little mini heat wave, which would be great to get me acclimated to some warmer weather. As just in a few days' time, I will be making my way to Las Vegas for EDC, which I will talk about a little bit more. Usually, I talk about cruise-related topics, and that is my specialty. So I think that is why I focus a lot on that. But I do want to, over time, inject a bit more general gay travel advice onto this podcast. For example, I was talking to a friend that I want to get onto the podcast as a guest, and he's very knowledgeable about all sorts of gay events and gay travel and things like that as well. And he mentioned that he was starting to get really into miles and points. And I said before, cruises, for example, are definitely not cheap. And I'm also kind of pretty into miles and points for several years now. And it is on my list of ideas for this podcast to kind of introduce you listeners to the world of miles and points. And, for those of you who have been at the miles and points game for a little while now, you probably have developed some sort of system. You've got, all of that kind of going on. You're doing the research. You're on the websites and the forums and Reddit and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of people out there that I think could benefit from, some beginner's advice, introductory advice to miles and points. So yeah, stay tuned to the podcast. And I want to bring you that. So that's one of the topics I'm going to start branching out into with this podcast. It's not just about cruises. It's also about, just gay travel in general as well. And yeah, with the way prices are going, I think we need all the help we can. And miles and points, if done responsibly, are a great way to subsidize and even enhance your travel experience, no matter if you're flying to a cruise or going to something like EDC Las Vegas or wherever your travels take you. All right, today we're going to talk about three things. First, I'm going to give a quick update on sales of the Atlantis Symphony 2026 cruise. Then we're going to have a little conversation, a little chat about circuit parties versus music festivals versus cruises. And finally, because I am going to go to EDC Las Vegas just in a few days, I want to just give a few of my top tips for EDC Las Vegas. First up, let's talk about the Atlantis Symphony 2026 cruise. A couple of podcasts ago, actually, 2 episodes ago, I talked about how the pre-sale schedule was going to work for this particular cruise. This cruise has been in a lot of demand. A lot of people have been trying to book it, and Atlantis has a phase schedule for how they start selling this cruise. So 2 podcasts ago, I'll talk about on April 30th, it went on an exclusive private pre-sale to the guests that were on the Alert 2025 cruise earlier this year in February. Those folks on that particular ship had an exclusive head start to book the Symphony 2026 cruise. And then on May 6th or thereabouts, it opened up to all Atlantis alumni. So anyone who's sailed with Atlantis before for at least like a few cruises, they are considered Atlantis alumni. Me, myself, for example, I got the alumni notification email 2 or 3 days ago from when this podcast goes up. So definitely they have internally within Atlantis a staggered approach to how they release sales to alumni during that alumni pre-sale period. Again, the more sailings you've been on with Atlantis, the earlier you're likely to get the alumni pre-sale be available to you. And now we've got a few more updates, especially for those of you that are not alumni, that are waiting for like the public sale, and also for those of you who are alumni and are going through the process of booking or wanting to book on the Symphony of the Seas with Atlantis in February 2026. First of all, alumni pre-sales have started. If you believe you're alumni, just make sure you check your emails. I feel like for the people who are more junior, freshman alumni, maybe the emails for those people haven't gone up yet, or maybe they're just going up like today, Monday, May the 12th. But if you think you're alumni, just make sure you check your emails. You should be getting an email from Atlantis with the alumni presale information with a unique special link you can use to book a room on Symphony. You can also just contact Atlantis by calling them up as well. There's a phone number on the website and the email. Also, you're also free to use a travel agent. So I talked about 2 episodes before how there are alumni balcony discounts. Some balcony rooms have discounts for alumni. And from the latest information I have, those balcony discounts are still available. But the new part it says here is that the alumni discounts are good only until May 23rd. So it says if you book before May 23rd, they will still have discounts for the balcony rooms. Not every single balcony room, especially some of the ocean balcony rooms, have certain exceptions. So just double check all the exceptions and the discount amounts are in the emails that went out to alumni. Another thing I picked up in the latest update is that it says in this email, suite confirmations will begin on Tuesday, May 13th. So that will be tomorrow. Talked about how Atlantis has a completely different system for assigning suites. It's different from a regular room where you can go on the reservation system, click a few buttons, and you can lock in your room instantaneously. Suites work very differently. You have to submit a special request form, and then Atlantis will go through all the requests. They have a different system for how to prioritize those requests. And after you do all that, then they will notify the people to say, hey, your request was accepted. You have a suite. So apparently, they will start confirming the people who have requested a suite beginning on Tuesday, May 13th. I'm throwing out a lot of these dates that Atlantis have put out here. You know, Atlantis is not known for being very punctual with any of their timelines. I kind of wish sometimes they didn't put out so many dates and have so much details on the timelines for something, even though it's not like the timelines are extremely detailed. They're just like, you know, these discounts are good until this date. That's a very normal thing to do. They're just not very good at holding themselves to the dates that they say they will do something by. That is all. So all the dates, take it with like a pinch of salt. And speaking of Atlantis, not quite getting dates right all the time. In the latest email I've got here that I just got a couple of days ago, it says that public sale for Symphony will be on, quote, Tuesday, May 14th, even though May 14th is a Wednesday and not a Tuesday. I haven't been able to verify whether it's actually Tuesday, which is the 13th, or it's May 14th, which is the Wednesday. But honestly, given that Atlantis is not the best at sticking to the times they advertise anyways, I'm sure they're going to do an email blast to their whole mailing list when it does go on public sale, because it's in their best interest to just let as many people know as possible when they are able to take people's money and book something. But yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, it doesn't make a huge difference, honestly. It's not like within 24 hours of going to public sale, 1,000 room suite soaked up. I don't think it's going to be like that. But basically, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere around there, that's when the cruise go on public sale. So besides the mailing list, when it does go on public sale, the information on that particular cruise will be on the Atlantis website. You know, if you just go on the Atlantis website right now, as a regular person, you're not going to see the cruise listed. But once it does go on public sale, they will have a whole section on the cruise on their website. So that's another way you can tell when it has gone on public sale. As far as I can tell, and I suspect that this cruise is going to sell anyways, this cruise, I do think it will still sell out. The economic environment is not as good as it was the last 2 or 3 years. Let's put it that way here, especially here in the US. So I feel like there's a little bit of question mark as to, is it going to sell as quickly as it did the last couple years? Is it going to actually sell out? I mean, I think possibly it might sell a little bit slower. There are definitely signs in the economy in the US that people are pulling back on spending. It's not that apparent when you watch like the news about the stock market or about the economy in like a macro level, but definitely on a micro level, I've noticed a lot of people are pulling back on spending, especially discretionary spending, which includes vacations, which includes things like going on a cruise. But however, so far, the cruise is selling pretty well. I would guesstimate by the time it goes on to public sale, that maybe something like 40 to 50% of the ship would have been snapped up. I think in years past, like the last 2 or 3 years when this cruise was like selling really well, I think something like roughly half the ship was already sold by the early stages of when it went on public sale. That sounds like a lot, but it's like, hey, there's a whole half of the ship that is available. And again, these are huge, gigantic ships. In years past, when it sold out, there were approximately 5,500 passengers that booked on it. So there's still tons of room for everyone to still get on this cruise. So don't worry about that. Most of you probably have a facial cleanser and moisturizer already. So I want to tell you about Shield and Slay DP, which is an anti-pollution hydration spray I formulated specifically for my skincare line, Serve Labs. This is actually a product I've been looking for years now and haven't been able to find on the market, which is something that was a hydration spray, but also has anti-pollution, antioxidant properties for your skin. Shield and Slay DP is the ultimate double protection defense for your skin, teaming up antioxidants, probiotics, along with hydrating ingredients to fend off environmental stressors and aggressors. You can use it as part of your daily skincare routine, but I've also designed it so you can use it while you're out and about, on an airplane, or whenever your skin feels dry, dull, or a bit worse for wear. All you have to do is spray it on. Check out Shield and Slay DP along with the rest of the Serve Labs skincare lineup at servelabs.co, servelabs.co, and you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Serve Labs. All right, with that little update on Symphony over, I'm going to move it on and talk a little bit about EDC. For those of you who are not familiar with what EDC is a EDM music festival. Do you all know what EDC stands for? Do you really? Electric Daisy Carnival is what the letters EDC stands for. If you want the whole spiel on the history of that, I'm sure Wikipedia and Google have got you covered. But it's I lean more towards cruises for sure. But sometimes people ask me, what's different between a cruise and a circuit party, which is another type of party that I frequent quite a bit. And sometimes people will ask, how is it different than like a music festival, right? Just to take these three categories of events, it's kind of apples to oranges to bananas. A cruise is not just a party you go to for like a few hours and then you go home. A lot of bigger cities have circuit parties that are like, Saturday night, there's like a circuit party somewhere. In Los Angeles, we've got a couple of production companies that put on circuit parties regularly. So there's Massive Beat, and then there's also GPS, for example. And they don't have it every weekend. It's usually on the holiday weekends, the long weekends, and sometimes in between those holidays, they'll have like one or two just on like a regular weekend, just to, but it's not like every weekend. Maybe like once a month, they'll have an actual circuit party on like a Saturday night, for example, or when Pride rolls around, or when it's a long holiday weekend. It's an event you go for like 3 or 4 hours or however long you want, and then you go home and that's it. Instead of going to some other Saturday night event, instead of going to like a bar or like a regular club for 2, 3, 4 hours, you go to a circuit party for 2, 3, or 4 hours. So you can do circuit parties that are an actual trip. So I've gone to Circuit Festival in Barcelona, for example, and me and my friends, we did a 10-day trip to Spain for that, because Circuit Barcelona, for example, is not like, it's a Saturday and it's done, or it's like a Saturday and a Sunday thing and it's done. Their full calendar spans about 10 to 14 days. I think in some years previous, it's been kind of 14 days technically from the very first event to the very last one. But, that's like the opposite end of an extreme. There are circuit events out there that are multi-days. It's pretty popular to have circuit events that span a weekend. So maybe like Friday night to Sunday night. So there's 3 nighttime parties, and maybe Saturday or Sunday during the daytime, they may have some sort of pool party or a tea dance, something in the afternoon. That's popular as well. Some of you that followed me for a little while, I've talked about White Party Bangkok. That's usually 4 to 5 days, and it revolves around New Year's, bringing in the new year. And depending on which day of the week New Year lands on, they have 3 or 4 or 5 days of parties for White Party Bangkok. So with circuit parties, it's like a range. EDC, though, I'm limited to EDC Las Vegas. They also do EDC events in some other places, but EDC Vegas is kind of sort of like the flagship of the EDC events, at least in the US. There are also some other music festivals as well, like Ultra, but EDC Vegas is a big one. And like the scale of EDC compared to a circuit party, like the biggest circuit parties I've been to are the ones in Spain. White Party Bangkok is pretty big. But EDC Las Vegas, it's many, many times bigger. It's at least like 100 times bigger. In terms of actual physical amount of space it takes up, in terms of attendance, it's just on like a completely different scale. EDC Vegas takes up pretty much all of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So there's a racetrack, an oval racetrack, NASCAR style. EDC takes up pretty much that entire facility. It goes from Thursday into Sunday. The Thursdays is kind of sort of when people who are camping at EDC, which is what I'll be doing, my third time camping EDC, which I'm very excited about. That's when the campers first go in. That's when the campgrounds start open. A lot of the campers will arrive on Thursdays. You can get a tent from EDC. Basically, when you get to the campgrounds, there'll be like a tent assigned to you, and depending on the type of tent you get, the nicer ones will have a little bed. It's got bedding. It's got all that stuff. It's got an air conditioner. So it's like glamping-ish. And then there are restroom and shower facilities kind of spread out all through the campgrounds. Or you can also get an RV. If you own one, great. A lot of people will rent an RV, and then they'll drive into the campgrounds on Thursday, which is what me and my friends will be doing. And I was very lucky, by the way. I was very lucky at the very last minute that a friend of mine had a empty spot. Someone dropped out of their RV camping plans. But you can drive in an RV. They also have a section of camp just for that. You still have access to like all the same facilities. They'll have electrical hookups if you buy the extra pass for that. And camping is really, really cool. It's something that's very unique. You can't like go to a circuit party and camp out there. It's not that type of event. Even if you don't camp out there, if you don't camp, the next most popular option is just staying at a hotel somewhere in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is full of hotels, obviously. They have shuttles that will pick you up from various points within and around the strip, kind of like the main Las Vegas parts of the city, and the shuttles will drive you into where EDC actually is at the speedway. And a lot of people do this because the campgrounds are only so big, and camping is like it's a little bit more involved. But a lot of people, they'll just fly in, stay at a hotel, take the shuttle in. I've done that many times before. But when you're at EDC, EDC is not one of those things where like you just kind of can casually go. With circuit parties before, I've been able to just like casually go. If you have a ticket, okay, sometimes me and my friends, we're going somewhere, we're on a trip for a particular circuit party event. It's like multiple nights and multiple events, and maybe we don't all go to all of them. But we have like the festival pass that gets us into every party. So even if one of us wakes up late and the rest of the gang has left, for example, it's very easy to be like, oh, roll out of bed, get ready, wash your face, take a shower, do your hair, just the basics like what you would do normally every day at home. Grab your phone, grab your wallet, grab your ticket or bracelet, grab a Uber, grab a taxi, just take the train. However it is, you need to get yourself to the party, and then you get to the party, you have your ticket, you're in. EDC is a little different because it's so involved to go to EDC. The shuttle I was talking about, if you're lucky, I think it's 45 minutes. It could take a little bit longer. Once you're at EDC, though, again, EDC is so massive, and there's no in and out privileges with EDC. Once you're at EDC, you're there not for like 2 or 3 hours. You're probably there for like 5 or 6 hours. It's not something you just like super casually decide to go. Me and my friends, we usually go, if we're taking the shuttles, we go pretty early. We try to get there at like somewhere around sunset, which is like 7 or 8 p.m. There's just so much to do there. And obviously they have music and they have a lot of different stages where you can go. And some of the bigger stages are like absolutely massive. Like you walk up to the stage and there's, I don't know, like 50,000 people, 80,000 people, like 100,000 people. It seems like just standing in front of this super big, massive stage. Yeah, so like the scale of it is very different. When you go to EDC, it's not like, oh, I'll just be there for like a cute 2 or 3 hours, like you're going to the club on a Saturday night. It's a commitment. You know, you go there, you're probably gonna eat like a dinner there, maybe a couple of meals there. There's a lot of things to like do and see at EDC. It's not like some circuit parties. You walk in and there's a dance floor and then there's the bar. Literally, that's it. It's like walking into a club. It's the same thing. There's a dance floor and there's a bar. Code check. That's it. EDC, it's basically like a little city, honestly. Like the scale of it, there's so much walking that has to be involved because the speedway is so big. There's so many people that go to EDC. I don't know if this is like a great way to compare. I would probably need to like sit down or write a whole outline to really properly explain to you how different the experience is of going to something like a large music festival like EDC versus going to a circuit party, even if it's one of like the biggest circuit parties in the world, like Circuit Festival Barcelona or White Party in Bangkok, versus like going on a cruise. And going on a cruise is so different because a cruise is not a party. Like you can make some parallels between a circuit party and a music festival, but a cruise is not an event on that same level. A cruise is like a completely separate thing. Like families with kids go to cruises. Like a family with kids is not going to go to a circuit party. Okay? It's very, very different. A cruise has some parties on it, but that's not necessarily like the main attraction, and it's not the thing that is like the vast majority of people that go on a cruise are not primarily there for the dance parties. Like, if you're going to go to a circuit party, like 100% of the people that go into a circuit party is there for like the circuit party itself. That's not true for a cruise. Even for like the party cruise, the symphony cruise I was talking about, you know, like, yeah, a lot of people do want to have fun and go on quote unquote a party cruise, but I wouldn't say like, you know, 99% of the people booking the cruise, the main overriding reason for them to go on a cruise are the nighttime circuit parties, dance parties that they have on the ship. You know, there are a lot more things to do on a cruise, which I've talked about many a times. And a cruise is a much more all-inclusive vacation. In that sense, I feel like the cruise is a bit closer in that respect to EDC, especially if you're camping there. Because when you camp at EDC, you're staying at EDC. So your whole 24 hours of the day is like at the event. Kind of sort of like, you know, when you're on a cruise, you're every minute of every day is you're on the ship. So it affects things like how you get ready, the food that you eat, your daily routine, other things you might do besides partying, like wanting to get some exercise in or wanting to like do yoga, socializing, things like that. You know, there's no circuit party. You can just stay at the circuit party venue, and, you know, that part is quite different. I don't know if any of this has been coherent, but I get people ask me, how's a cruise different from a circuit party? And it's like, it's not really the same thing. And people be like, oh, what about a circuit party? How does that compare to a music festival like Ultra or like EDC? And I'm like, depending on which one you go to, it's like, they're very different things. Well, hopefully that was useless information. And if for nothing else, I hoped I help you make your Monday commute go by a little less painfully. So, one of my earliest teenage obsessions was skincare. Instead of looking at toys in the kids section at the store, I was looking at moisturizers in the skincare section. As I grew up and navigated my sexuality, I saw that most of the beauty industry was aimed at feminine women, sometimes at masculine men, but everyone else was left out. It wasn't for someone like me. With Surf Labs, I wanted to create a fun skincare experience for everyone. I'm pretty sure your skin doesn't care how masc or femme you are or who you love, but I'm absolutely sure you need to take care of it. Check us out at surflabs.co, SERVELABS.co, and you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at surflabs. I want to give some actual useful advice. just in case some of you out there will be going to EDC Las Vegas, especially for those of you that are newer or haven't been to EDC in a little while, there's just a few tips. EDC being so special, I always like to make sure people are well prepared. Hydration is super important. There are a lot of water stations within EDC. So what my friends and I always do is have some sort of hydration backpack with us. It's not like when you go to a party, the bar is like right there and you just like go grab a drink or get some water or whatever. Sometimes it's a bit of a hike to get to the nearest food or drinks or water station. And you might not want to leave your friends or whatever, but it's fairly easy to get lost. You need to have like a particular system to be able to find people, which was going to go to the next point. But hydration is very important. It can get very warm in the desert, especially at night. The weather is a bit unpredictable. But having a backpack that has a hydration pack in it, and it's got like a little tube that you can drink water out of the pack without taking your backpack off, that works a little better at something like EDC than just like a regular water bottle that will get maybe knocked around and, you have to like reach around to pull it out of your backpack and all that kind of stuff. So hydration packs are very, very popular at EDC, and you see tons of people have them. And at the free water refill stations, you see tons of people filling those back up. They sell them for like, the cheaper ones sell for like $30 or $40. You might be able to borrow a backpack from someone who might have gone to EDC, or they might go hiking or do things like that. Just borrow it for EDC. Yeah, the second thing is, I said the weather is very unpredictable. I've been at EDC where it was like midnight and it was very warm. But I forgot what year it was. One year it was super, super warm. It was like midnight already. And I actually tolerate heat very well. I think right now in my house, it's 80 degrees in my house right now, according to my thermostat. And like, my hands are actually a little cold, but I'm just sitting there. Like, I cool down real fast. When you're dancing and walking a great distance, all that stuff, when it's warm weather, it could get really warm. But more than 1 year, I've been at EDC where it's been chilly. It was like, it got down into the 50s and it was windy, like properly windy. There have been some years where it's so windy, sometimes they have to close some of the stages. That's rare, but it sometimes does happen. Because the stages are so massive, they go up so high that when you get a lot of wind, there is like sometimes a little bit of a safety risk there. So I always, even if the forecast looks like, oh, it's going to be like 90 degrees in the day, like 65 at night, and there's no winds in the forecast, in the middle of the desert, it's unpredictable. It can get chilly. So I always pack a light jacket, something that will give you a bit of warmth, something a little thicker than a windbreaker, something that will keep you a little bit warm. I always put that into my little hydration backpack. So always bring a jacket, even if the forecast says otherwise, because sometimes you just get caught out. And very comfortable shoes. A lot of my circuit fans will prioritize fashion over comfort for every part of the outfit, including footwear. I'm not that type of girl. Yeah, for the outfit, if from the ankles up, sure. I'll dress up to a theme. I'll put on something maybe a little bit uncomfortable. I've talked about on a cruise where one of the advantages of a cruise is you can wear the most uncomfortable, painful outfit that looks glamorous. It looks like $1 million. And that's okay on a cruise because you have your own room you can go back to with your own storage, and you can go change there at any time that you want. And I say, yeah, great. Wear the super uncomfortable but super hot outfit to the party for 30 minutes, an hour, however long you want or can tolerate. Get all the photos in, and then change into a second outfit that is a little more comfortable. You don't have that luxury at EDC unless you're camping there. You can walk back to the camp and walk back. It's maybe like a 20 to 30 minute, it's probably closer to half an hour, 20 to 30 minute hike. 20 is if you walk fast, and could be longer if wherever your RV or your tent is a little further from the entrance to the festival. And you can change and come back. So I think if you camp at EDC, I think you can do outfit changes, and that's fine. But if you're like taking the shuttle and you're not camping there, whatever you're wearing, you're stuck with it for until you leave EDC. And most people don't leave EDC until like, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. A lot of people stay until sunrise. And yeah, if you get there at like 8 p.m. and find out an hour later that your outfit is not comfortable, ugh. But especially like the food where there's so much walking that you have to do at EDC. Just getting to EDC is a lot of walking, honestly. You really should have comfortable foot. And it's dark. Some of the roads are like gravelly. It's not all just like pavement. There's going to be some kind of gravel roads. There's a little bit of grass. So I would just wear comfortable running shoes, definitely. The one thing I really want to highlight that, it's like the weather and keeping hydrated and comfortable shoes is something you can maybe kind of sort of get on your own. It's not super surprising. Phone theft is a real thing at music festivals. Unfortunately, some people go into a place like EDC with the intent of like pickpocketing people's phones and whatever else is in their pocket. If you have some cash in your pocket, a wallet in your pocket, a phone in your pocket, there are, unfortunately, people that go to festivals and that's all they do. They'll just go around the crowd, see who's a little tipsy, a little too tipsy. Maybe they've got a phone just hanging out of their pocket, jumping around, dancing around. And then it's such a big crowd that it's hard to notice if someone is creeping around you, but it's just people moving around in this giant crowd. Like the crowds have like tens of thousands of people, like many tens of thousands of people. You just don't know who is like passing by you, behind you, beside you, wherever. So a couple of ways to keep your phone safe. If you don't need to be on your phone the whole time, you can put your phone into like your backpack, especially if there's like kind of an inner compartment that's like hard to get to unless like you really open up the backpack. If you have a smartwatch that connects to your phone, maybe that's enough for you to like get messages that you might get. Honestly, when you're in the middle of EDC at peak hours, your cell phone is probably not getting reception because the reception at the EDC is just not very good. So you're probably not getting that many messages. It's very in and out. The reception is super flaky and it's probably not going to work. Just assume it's not going to work. So if you're okay to just rely on your smartwatch, I would say just put your phone into a very secure inner pocket that's not accessible from the outside of your backpack. If you don't have a backpack, a fanny pack is great for that. A fanny pack that is not behind you, that has like a good zipper on it. A lot of people wear fanny packs and kind of keep it on like the front of them. That's a great way to keep your phone secure. If you don't have a pack of any sort and you just have your pants, wear pants that have like a zipper. At least that's like a little extra security to, if you're dancing and jumping around, it's a little harder for someone to like unzip the zipper on your pocket than to just like in an open pocket and just kind of slide their hand in and grab your phone. Some friends I know, they will tether their phone. You can buy like little tethers off Amazon that clips onto your phone and the other part clips to like the belt of your shorts or your pants so that, even if someone tries to take your phone, it's tethered to your clothing or your backpack in some way, shape, or form. However, these people, these thieves, they bring wire cutters now and they snip off the cord. Apparently, they've been getting better at doing that, but a lot of people are relying on the tethers. The tethers are not like super, super strong unless you get some super heavy duty one that's like, I don't know, steel or something, some sort of steel cord. But there are things you can do to kind of keep your phone safe. Unfortunately, it is quite a big thing. It is a real risk at some of these music festivals. I talked about it being difficult to find your friends. So if you're going as a group of friends, have a totem. Totems are really fun. They can be really fun. You just need one totem per group of people. And I'm not the authority on totems for music festivals. When I go to a music festival, I usually do go with a crew. Actually, I was going to go solo for this one. And I know that I have people that I know that are going. And I'll just like randomly kind of bounce around and hang out with whoever is there kind of. But I'm a solo wanderer for sure at a lot of these things. But I do have kind of like a crew I'm going with. But I still tend to like bouncing around. But if you do have an actual crew you're going with, have a totem for your crew. A lot of great ideas on the internet for a lot of different ideas from like simple ones. You can just get like a flagpole, a collapsible flagpole. Doesn't have to be the most massive one. It just put like a flag on it, some sort of recognizable flag. Go on Amazon, buy a collapsible flagpole, and just buy a flag. You can clip a little light onto it so that it lights up because it is going to be dark, but it's going to be nighttime. Or there are people that basically have made really elaborate custom types of totems. And it doesn't need to be like the biggest, tallest totem. It just needs to be enough that you can spot them at a distance. So usually what I found work well is pole that has a flag on it, maybe like with a little light, like maybe like a little clip-on LED light. Because having like a large flag that packs very easily, and a large flag can be seen at a distance. Or if you don't want to have something super big like a flag hang off the top of it, it has to be something that lights up and has a light signature that it's pretty recognizable from like several hundred feet away. Because if your friends are at one of the bigger stages, maybe they work themselves closer to the front, you needed a water break, a bathroom break, a food break, whatever, and you separate from your group, and now you need to find them. You know that, oh, they're going to be seeing this artist at this stage. You walk up to the stage from behind, and it's like, oh, you now see like 100 totems amongst 100,000 people. You need to be able to identify, okay, there's like 100 totems here. Which one belongs to my group? But I think totems are great. Also, again, your phone is not going to work. Your phone is not going to work, especially when you're like at one of the bigger stages in the crowd of people. You are probably not going to get any bars. Your data is probably not going to work. You send a message. Sometimes maybe it doesn't go through for like 10 minutes. As you're wandering around the festival grounds, at some point for like a 10-second period, your phone gets just enough of a reception, just enough of a signal for those messages to go through. So what my friends and I usually do is, we are going to send a message at EDC. We always put a timestamp. Hey, Joey, where are you? 10:45. Put that timestamp into the actual message itself so that whenever it sends, because it doesn't go through instantaneously usually, whoever receives it knows that, oh, this message was sent at 10:45 and now it's like midnight. So like that's an old message because your phone doesn't otherwise tell you. Otherwise, there's like a lot more tips that people can give, but I think those are like my top ones. I will be vlogging the entire thing exclusively for my Patreon subscribers because they get a travel vlog. But if I get enough footage, maybe I'll do a little bit of the vlog on my YouTube channel, just Joey T as well. All right, that's it for this week. And because I will be at EDC, there's not going to be a podcast episode next week. And the week after that is Memorial Day weekend. So the podcast will be on a 2-week break. Yes, I know the three of you are very heartbroken, but hey, you know what? There are some great YouTube videos that I just recently published. So just a few days ago, my latest YouTube video went up. It's my vlog of the Atlantis Allure 2025 cruise. That one's finally edited 3 months later. That's on my YouTube channel. It just got posted on Friday. So those of you that were on that cruise, I want to relive it a little bit. Maybe you're curious about what I was up to on that cruise. David is in that video as well. Go check that out. As well, the video a little before that, which wasn't that long ago, only like a week or two ago, about gay cruise facts and myths. I've been getting lots of great feedback about that. So go check that out as well. So even though we're taking just a couple of weeks break, I'll be at EDC next week, and the week after is Memorial Day weekend here in the US. I still have tons of content to keep you entertained. But until next time we come back online, which will be June, Pride Month, take care and bye, y'all.